Hello again everyone, Saki here and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are duplicating a real-world flight that I saw from pilot Emilie on YouTube. She flew from Fort St. John to Calgary, so that will be the flight that we are doing today, and we are going to be using the TBM 930 here. Pretty fast turboprop aircraft, should get us there. It's not a Dash 8 that she actually flew on her video, but it'll get us there in about an hour, just like real life. Weather today looks pretty clear. We're on real world weather. We've got some clouds in the background. Hey, bus! And we're doing this at real time. So over there on the west side of Canada, the sun is indeed on the horizon. So we might have a pretty cool sunset once we roll into Calgary, but I'll go ahead and hop in the cockpit and get everything started. All right, aircraft is started. We're pretty much ready to take off as far as prep is concerned. The only thing I'm going to do now is sort of get this Garmin where I'd like it. I like my GPS on bearing 2, and for bearing 1, I like to have nav 1. That way, on approach, we can take a look at that, and we'll always have our flight plan put in. As far as our PFD settings, I like option 3 for the wind, so we have our wind marker right there. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get our flight plan entered here. We are at CY, XJ, Fort St. John, and our destination is going to be CYYC, Fort Calgary International. What I'll do is I'll actually tune into the Asus at Calgary and see exactly what runway they're using so I can program an approach from here. But I'll go ahead and get all of those en route waypoints put in, and I'll be right back. All right, flight plan for today, we are leaving out of runway 21, making the left turn down southeast. That will take us to Rolla, YQU, Codit, and Mater on our way to Calgary. I'll go ahead and tune into the Asus in real life for Calgary International and see where they are sending aircraft, and going to plug that into our approach as well. All right, actually tuning in to Calgary, it sounds like they're using 35 left, which is Gable, Bovtix, then runway 35 left. Everything is looking awesome. Why do I have those? Let me go to my flight plan here and see if I can clean that up just a bit. No? Okay, so everything is looking solid here. Now there's no tower, so we have to basically announce our intentions ourselves. So we will be announcing our taxi, heading on over to runway 21, and then we will announce when we are ready for takeoff. So I will see you for the lineup. All right, we're at the hold short marker here, a very quick taxi. Let's go ahead and get lined up here, and then I guess once we are actually lined up ready to go, we're going to announce the takeoff. Now, one thing that Microsoft Flight Sim is doing is giving us these sort of direction markers to follow and line up to. I kind of want that to go away because if we don't do it properly, that marker will stay. Even when we take off, it's going to tell us that we didn't taxi out correctly. So there we go. We are lined up on the runway, ready to go. Flaps are in the takeoff position. Let's go ahead and announce that we are taking off to the south.
Charlie Yankee, X-Ray Juliet, traffic Saka 1 taking off runway 21 departure to the south.
All right, everyone seems to be okay with that. Let's go ahead and throttle up, get this almost to 100% with this turboprop. It takes a little bit to get up there. Winds are definitely cross, blowing from left to right. We're bobbing and weaving just a bit. Let's go ahead and rotate on up. Positive rate. Gear up. And as we're continuing to climb, we'll go flaps up. All right, so we are free and clear. What I'm going to do is manually fly this little section here, which will be making a left turn, it looks like, at user. And then we are 37.7 miles away from our next waypoint. Just looking out to the left, pretty cool stuff. I don't believe we'll have to worry about icing too awful much, but as we climb, we should be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and roll out. Climbing at about 2,000 feet per minute, that's fine. Our altitude feet in our cabin pressure only increases by 500 feet per minute. So if we outrun it too much, we might actually lose some oxygen, which is definitely not good. But I'll hand fly this a little bit. We will go ahead and set up our autopilot, and then we'll talk to Edmonton Center to get our ILS clearance. So I'll go ahead and get set up and be right back with you. All right, just got it set up to where we're doing flight change mode at 165 knots climb. That puts us at 19 to 2,000 feet per minute, shooting for 10,000. Let's go ahead and get to Edmonton Center and request IFR clearance for our instrument here.
Edmonton Center, Saka 16 miles southeast of Charlie Yankee, X-ray Juliet, request IFR to Calgary.
And then we'll go ahead and get our squawk ready to go.
Saka 1 is cleared to Calgary Airport as filed. Squawk 2757.
All right, 2757 on, and we will go ahead and enter that.
Saka 1 cleared to Calgary Airport as filed. Squawk 2757.
All right, what kind of altitude are you going to give us here?
Correct. Radar contact 7,600 feet. Altimeter tree 0.11, continue to Rama turning and following heading 105, proceed on course, descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
All right, so 7,000, so we got to get down to 7,000. And then we'll go ahead and request a flight level increase.
105, proceed on course, descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
And you sort of see there, it didn't like what we did, so we're flying away from where it thinks we should be. So that marker will stay on our screen until we get there, and I don't believe this flight is actually going to count as far as a takeoff and landing is concerned. It'll count as far as the time spent in the cockpit, which is always good, but as far as like takeoff and landing, it's not going to count according to the game, which is all fine and dandy. Let's go ahead and get down to 7,000. We will also get an altitude increase by 10,000 feet, shooting for about 25,000 today.
Request 17,000 feet.
So we'll request another flight level increase and be good to go. Hey, there we go. Geez, this is really bumpy. Yeah, we got a 44 knot crosswind here.
Climb and maintain 17,000 feet. Saka 1.
All right, so I'll go ahead and get up to 17,000. We'll go ahead and request a higher flight level and begin our cruise. So I will see you at the top of climb. All right, passing 11,000 feet, about 2 minutes away from roll-up. I expanded the map out to 200 miles, so 100 miles this way, 100 miles that way. One thing I'm curious is looking at the weather. So we've got a little bit of precipitation on the other side of Grand Prairie. If I look at the horizontal there, it shows up there about 140 miles away. And if we look at the vertical, we should be climbing over this little patch. So everything is looking good. And I don't believe we will need our weather radar today, so that's one less thing to worry about. So we're continuing to climb at 14 to 1,500 feet per minute. We could probably slow down to 200 knots on the climb, get a little bit more climbing authority out of this thing on our way up to 25,000. So I will see you then. All right, just now hitting the top of our climb, 25,000 feet, 2 minutes and 17 seconds from Grand Prairie, picking up a little bit of speed. We've still got that right to left crosswind at 34 knots, blowing us a little bit off course. Certainly not the 80 or 90 knot winds that you sometimes see at 34,000 up in the big 747. But we're getting ready to fly over Grand Prairie and then getting to our next longest stint. After Grand Prairie, we are going to be heading to, let's see, let's take a look here. Yeah, 191 miles from Grand Prairie to Codet, and then 45 miles to Mater. and I don't care who you are, that's funny right there. Then we start our RNAV approach into 35 left. So that should be pretty fun. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Alright, just hopped out of the cockpit for just a minute. Get a nice look out the window at that setting sun. Pretty turbulent back here. I'm shrinking and growing in my seat as the plane is moving, but the camera isn't. But everything is awesome. Still on course, and it's a beautiful day outside. Alright, we're not alone out here. Canadian Western 924 is flying from Edmonton to Grand Prairie according to flight tracker data. So they had a little bit less of a flight than we did. Unfortunately, we are not going to see them, and our map is zoomed out way too much to see them on our map, as it were. Looking to our right, a little bit of cloud cover, but we aren't heading over the mountains in any way, shape, or form. Pretty much a straight shot all the way to Calgary from here. Still have that 30-knot crosswind blowing from right to left, keeping our ground speed at 316. That'd be nice if that shifted to the rear and we got a little bit of a push, but at least it's not a headwind. About 9 minutes to Coddit, 48 miles away, and about 80 to 85 miles in that direction would be Edmonton. Can't really see it, and this glare coming from the right is incredible with that sun going down, but making the horizon nice and red. Very picturesque for sure. Still no weather on the horizon. The wind has died down. It's 19 knots from right to left now, and it's turned a little bit more, tailwind, but not really much. Still 319 knots over the ground, and as you can see, we're 233 miles away from our starting point because our little helper says that we should still be trying to take off, so that is all well and good. And yeah, we'll settle in for Coddit and then Mater. Alright, finally got our descend order for 190 outstanding. We'll go ahead and acknowledge that.
Descend and maintain flight level 190 Sokka 1.
So, do we go down? I think about 1800 is about the pace that Microsoft Flight Sim expects us to be. We'll go down at 2,000 feet per minute though, and down to 19,000. So we'll pick up a little bit of speed here. Not too awful much. Let's throttle back just a skosh while we get down to 19. Yeah, picked up a little bit of speed there, 338 over the ground, plus the wind isn't blowing hard at all, 6 knots, and it's almost a tailwind, thankfully. So, yeah, looking good, about 2 minutes away from Mater, and then we've got the long stretch to Gable, in which we need to be at 6,500 feet. So I'm pretty sure they will continue to give us a descend all the way through Calgary so we can get down to that 6,000 feet at Gable. Yep, sun is doing what the sun does, going down behind the mountains, so we should have a very red approach. Looking to our left, can't see much, so hopefully the sun goes down just a little bit and starts casting some shadow so we're not so blind in here. Alright, so we're actually on 17 right. And we need to get down to 7,100 feet, so we'll acknowledge that approach. I said acknowledge the approach.
Descend and maintain 7,100 feet. Expect ILS runway 17 right approach. 5 LRO transition cleared to LRO Sokka 1.
Alright, so we'll do 7,100 as they had described, and we will reset our procedure here to get to the 17 right approach, ILS with the LRO transition, load and activate. Yeah, and it's going to tell us to spin around, unfortunately. I think we're going back to Mater before it clears us on to Ellero. So I'll let it do its thing. We're not that far away, so that will go ahead and do that. Or we can go direct to Ellero. Whoops. Yeah, let's go Ellero. Activate. Alright, so it looks like that works. And when we get to Ellero, we can go ahead and catch that localizer and head on in. Let me go ahead and get some frequencies set up for 17 right, and get that plugged in our nav radio. Alright, so 109.3 is going to be our nav 1 frequency. Hasn't picked it up quite yet, and what I will do is I'll go ahead and set the heading bug to right here or so, turn it to heading mode so that we're following the heading.
Soccer 1 traffic is 2 o'clock 4 miles at 11,800 feet generic. Report them in sight.
11,000, 4 o'clock.
Generic
Yeah, there they are.
Foxtrot Lehman traffic is
Got 'em.
4 o'clock 4 miles at 13,500 feet on TBM 9. Report them in sight.
Yeah, we'll say traffic in sight.
Soccer 1 have the traffic.
And now that we're doing that, we'll switch to VOR 1, and our course
Generic Romeo Foxtrot
for
Lima
17
traffic
right is actually 165. So we'll go this way. Keep on turning, keep on turning, keep on turning to 165. And then we are all set up to intercept that localizer. Get back on FMS and turn it back on nav mode, and it will head on out to Ellero. Once we get close enough, we'll engage approach mode and should be in like a dirty shirt. So feeling good about that. We'll be down to 7,100 feet shortly, and 7 minutes and 22 seconds away from Ellero, and we have quite the sunset. Thankfully it's behind the mountains, so no blinding glare on our side glass at all. So I'll see you once we get a little bit closer. All right, 3029er on the barometer. So that is all set there. Then we'll do our backup as well. 3029. And as long as we don't run into anything crazy, we should be set up well for our altimeter to land. Calgary is out there somewhere. Alright, getting down to approach flap speed, contacting Calgary Tower, and we do have localizer.
9 miles north inbound ILS runway 17 right approach.
And we basically did have to make sure we were in Loc 1 mode before engaging.
Altimeter 30.28 with 1648.
Alright, 3028. So we are all set there, and we should be getting the glide slope shortly.
Cleared ILS runway 17 right approach, Soccer 1.
Alright, so 17 right. We should be cleared to land soonish as that runway comes into view. Yeah, we should be snagging the glide slope soon. Hopefully the localizer will get us a little bit more straight. If not, we'll have to take command ourselves. But let's go ahead and get landing flaps out.
Landing gear, landing gear, landing gear.
And we'll go ahead and lower the landing gear, why not? And I believe we'll hold around 85 to 90 knots on our approach, but yeah, localizer is smoothing out. Right on glide slope, there is 17 right. All right, just got cleared to land. Landing lights are on.
17 right, Soccer 1.
And it looks like we have a 7-knot crosswind from right to left. Shouldn't hurt us too awful bad. We'll get that ATC window off. Not sure exactly which taxiway we want to vacate, but we will get to that when we get to that. Holding nice and steady. I think I'll let the autopilot fly it in for a little bit, but a nice picturesque approach into Calgary here. And I'm assuming we're going to be making a left turn, if I had to make a guess. But very nice, got the sunset back there. Yeah, we'll turn autopilot off here. And hand fly. Just maintaining that sight picture and those pappy lights. Landing gear is down, yes. Yep, gear is down. Lights are on, and we'll aim for a little bit to the right of center. As that wind tries to blow us from right to left. Is it still blowing from right to left? Just a skosh. Not too awful bad here. Be coming over the highway. We'll keep power in it when we go level. We're starting to see some actual traffic down there on the roads. Very cool. With the TBM, you've got those exhaust gases coming right off the nose that gives you that heat haze. So far, looking really good, nice and stable at 97 knots. And I'm used to the 747, so I'm used to hearing like 1,000, 500, 100. So no such callouts in the TBM. Oh, nice skyline back there. Got the skyscrapers in downtown Calgary. Off to the right there on our pillar. Still a little bit high. There we go. Let's blend it in nice and easy. Nice and respectful. Hi, how are you? A nice little lake off to the left there. I don't know if that's there in real life. Oh, wind has shifted more to a headwind. That's why we're a little bit off. Yeah, let's aim for that 1,000-foot marker. There we go. Let's go ahead and cut the power. Float it down just a little bit. Easy does it, and flaps up. All right, so we're rolling here, looking at the map. We don't have a good vacate point. Those look pretty steep. So we'll have to roll the runway just a little bit until we get probably past where it says runway 17 right. We can make that left turn because we don't want to be pulling, you know, a negative 45-degree angle there. We probably could, but I'll just keep it nice and easy here. So we'll be passing this taxiway here, and then we'll vacate on the next one. Yeah, right about here. Should be fine. And interesting enough, they haven't told me to... Yeah, I was going to say they haven't told me to vacate the runway, but they did tell me to contact ground. Oh, and my AI companion actually picked up the phone on that one because, yeah, it figured out where we were and what we were actually doing. So let's get to ground on 125.3 and get to parking.
Calgary ground, Saka 1 taxi to parking.
And how far away is that? HB. So we're going to be making our way up there then.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway hotel, Bravo cross runway 29er uniform Saka 1.
All right, sweet. So I will see you there. Let's turn on our taxi lights and get to parking. All right, got the ground guide here. Nice and straight, ready to hit those brakes. And we could probably just do straight parking brake here. And there we go. We are parked and ready to go. Let's go ahead and kill the engine here. There we go. All the way down to engine cutoff. And then we'll flip the crash bar down. Nice and handy. All right, an hour and 25 minutes. Didn't get credit for the takeoff or landing because technically we didn't do it. But we are here in Calgary, nice and safe. Everything is awesome. And that will do it for me in this episode of Microsoft Flight Sim, everyone. Welcome to Calgary. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next Microsoft Flight Sim video. Take care.